What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is another Sunday. We are here on time, and this is a weekly gaming news show, the podcast where two video game playing veterans talk about the week's gaming news. We are your hosts. My name is Trenell, and I'm here as always with the homeboy Todd. What is going on, Todd? How are you doing?
Man, look, I am here.
Yes.
I'm a bit tired, but I'm here, and I'm happy.
Yeah, man. Freaking busy weekend for the both of
Yeah.
us.
Yep.
I celebrated a birthday out of town, so that was fun. And you just, what
Yeah,
were you up to?
I had a swim. This was a swim meet weekend, man.
Uh,
Five o'clock mornings, 8 o'clock
ooh,
bedtimes.
oh my goodness.
But yeah, it's. I mean, she swam well. She
Hmm.
enjoyed herself, so
It's
we're
worth it.
good. Yeah.
It's worth it. Hey,
Yep.
that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're here. We got a little bit of not the most jam packed of news cycles this week, but we do have some stories that we want to talk to you guys about. Some really important discussions for our long form that we want to bring up as well. So let's go ahead and get things started. There's no updates or corrections this week, but we do have our weekly icebreaker prepared by our own Up Jump the Boogie. So why don't you go ahead and introduce this one? What's our weekly icebreaker for this week?
Okay, this is based on a story we're going to go over later. But if you could put a game or series in the Video Game Hall of Fame, what would it be?
Right, and then we're actually going to be talking about the Hall of Fame later on in the show. But yeah, the first thing that came to mind was, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hmm.
But he's, of course, he's already in there along with
Right.
a lot of the other platforming icons like Donkey Kong and Super Mario Brothers, stuff like that. But out because that's what I grew up with. That's
Right.
my bread and butter right there is the platform genre. The other genre that I grew up on was the beat 'em ups.
Mhm.
So where there's games like Final Fight and like Streets of Rage and stuff that came out like in the 90s,
Hmm.
the early to mid 90s, there was some really good beat 'em ups on the NES that came out as well,
Right.
and that kind of like paved the way for the 16-bit era. Which of course is the predecessor to the hack and slash genre that we know today, like with games like Ninja Gaiden and stuff like that. It kind of like branched from the beat 'em up genre. So if there was a series or a title that I would want to put in there, it would probably be like Double Dragons,
Okay.
or even like River City Rampage. That was
Oh
a
yeah,
really
that's
that
the
was a
original.
really that's the OG
Oh
right
my
there.
gosh, that game was good though. It's so good.
It's so good, and it was so innovative for its time because it had
Right.
like branching pathways and like a whole city that you had to like explore and stuff like that. I've actually never beaten that game. I should do that one of these days. But yeah, River City Rampage and by extension the Double Dragon series.
Right, because most
Uh,
of those stuff spawned off of that game.
yeah, exactly. Those were some of like the earliest two. I think River City was like one of the first beat 'em ups, and Double Dragon was one of the first like super popular beat 'em up series. Because that one has spawned like plenty of games and even like a freaking movie.
Right.
Yeah, so I would say those two belong in Trenell's Hall of Fame. What about you though?
Um, and I thought about it for a while. And as much as I hate it, and
Oh
I
Lord.
hate to say it, I think the Call of Duty series is one that needs to be in the Hall of Fame
Oh
because
wow.
it is what made first person shooters popular. First person shooters had their thing with Doom and
Okay.
Quake and all that stuff, but they were losing, they were trailing in popularity.
Yeah.
They started picking back up when Halo came out, but when Call of Duty, especially Call of Duty Modern Warfare, when that hit, it turned into a runaway monster, and it's been
Yeah.
that way for at least the past 10 years.
Yeah,
So
I remember the news articles that were saying
mhm,
like video games are gonna ruin the movie going experience. I was
right
like, dang, is it that serious? And apparently it was.
at that time,
At
yeah.
that time, yeah,
As
yeah.
the amount of sales, and just the copycats that spawned out of it. I mean, how many copycats were there that based themselves off of the Call of Duty model?
Yeah, which was what really depressed me when I saw that Call of Duty was actually going to be taking the follower role in its next installment.
Yeah.
That actually really that hurt
But
quite a bit.
they've been doing that for a while. I mean, they didn't get wall running until Titanfall got it, right?
That's
They
very true.
they didn't get I think with that class system they got, that came out after some on, I can't think of the game, but there was another first person shooter that pretty much failed, but
Hmm.
brought in that same type of class system. So I mean they've been ripping people off. They do the Apple, right?
Yeah.
Same thing Apple does. Android will come out with it first. Apple, quote unquote, does it better.
Whatever.
So that's I mean that's the myth, right?
Yeah. True.
So
True. True.
it's that thing that they've been doing. But yeah, I think as much as I hate it, yeah, Call of Duty.
Yeah, because Doom is already in the Hall of Fame as
Yeah,
being like one of the first
right.
FPSs,
The pioneer.
the pioneer. I feel like Halo could have been there if it was multi-platform.
Halo is in there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is in there. Damn. Okay. So yeah, Halo's in there, but it's crazy because that was only on one console for a very long time. Call of Duty was the one that like blew it out of the water by going
Right.
on like every console that was out at the time. So yeah, I agree with that one because you can't deny its success
Right. And
over. Yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
and its impact on the game, on the culture as a whole, the
Oh my
gaming
God.
culture as
Yeah.
a whole. Yeah. Yeah, you can't deny it. As much, and I'm not going to sit here and say I never liked it, because from Modern Warfare to probably Modern Warfare 3, I was a Call of Duty head. Modern
Yeah.
Warfare 3 pretty much ended it for me, but I mean I was deep into Call of Duty, Black Ops 2,
Yeah. Same here.
Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 2. I was big into those, and Modern
Yeah.
Warfare 3 kind of killed it for me, and I haven't really been back since. But yeah,
Same here. That was the
it's
last one. Well, it wasn't the last one that I purchased. The last one I purchased was the Advanced Warfare, and I didn't like that either. So yeah, I tried to give it another chance, didn't like it, and I think I'm gonna just stay away going forward.
yeah, I did the
But
Infinity Warfare one, and to be quite, I enjoyed the single player campaign, but the multiplayer is a wreck in my opinion.
yeah, no, yeah, I agree with that 100%. But yeah, that was our weekly icebreaker, and a pretty good one. And I would definitely like to hear from you guys. What are some video games that you think deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? The list of the current Hall of Famers will be in our show notes, so you can
Yeah.
check. Yep, so you can check that out. And yeah, any games that you think are missing, let us know, and we'd love to hear. We'd love to hear from you. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the news. We got our quick hits up first. These are short little stories that don't necessarily deserve a deep dive, but they are stories that we do want to address with you guys. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get into that. And our first quick hit comes from the world of Paladins, because apparently they are leaving the open beta and going into like the game has been launched.
Right, the game has been, well, it's launching Tuesday. I think.
Launching on Tuesday,
They're
yeah.
launching on Tuesday, launching out of beta on Tuesday. Paladins is coming, and what they basically said is it's not going to be much of a change.
Mhm.
If you've been playing it, you're not going to see any difference. But what they are saying is that there's no major changes coming to the game. Any updates or changes will be more on the lines of maybe adding characters or balancing, but no major game changes. So it's
Okay.
the base game is what it is right now, and any changes would be basically balancing updates and maybe adding levels or characters, but not really much else other than that. So it's going to be a finished project, finally a finished project, and they are also offering in-game, I think 500 crystals, which is their in-game currency, for anybody that's played the beta and logs in between the time it's released on this Tuesday, which is what, the 8th,
Yeah.
and the end of the month, the 31st.
Okay. Yeah. So a little incentive for people that haven't jumped in, they can get some free in-game currency, and for the ones that have been riding with them since the beginning, they get rewarded as well. A pretty good strategy, I would say. We talked about Paladins not too long ago because they introduced the fact that they were going with the battlegrounds, or they were battle. What was it called?
Battle Royale genre.
Battle. Yeah, they were jumping into the battle royale genre as well. So a lot of Paladin news lately. We'll have to see what happens with this, because we've been talking about the copycats of the genre or whatever, especially back when everybody was trying to copy the hero genre.
Mm-hmm.
Paladins was one of those.
Right. I mean, they've been accused of blatantly ripping off the Overwatch, and yeah. So
So yeah, so I guess congratulations. We'll see how long the game lasts in its current form. Um, and yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next story, shall we?
Yeah, certainly can.
All right, so I wish we had O here because we're going to be talking about Mega Man, the 30th anniversary. We mentioned this back when it was announced, but or back when they were like first talking about it with the creation of the new entry into the classic series. I believe this is going to be Mega Man 11. I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so when Mega Man 11 was announced, but yeah, now we're here. We're talking about another announcement because Capcom just came out and said that they are going to be re-releasing Mega Man 2, which is probably one of the highly like regarded of the classic series, as well as the original Mega Man X, and not digitally but physically. We're going to be getting physical copies or physical versions of these games are going to be distributed for the 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
So Boogie, why don't you go ahead and elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so Mega Man X is getting a physical Super Nintendo cartridge release, and Mega Man 2 is getting a physical original Nintendo Entertainment System cartridge release. They're the original ROMs, the original game code on new PC or new boards, and they are playable on the North American to NTSC console. So if you have a Super Nintendo or a Nintendo Entertainment System, you could dust that bad boy off, pop these in, and it's good to play. And because they have been, so Capcom partnered with I Am 8-Bit. So these are essentially official releases. Each cartridge is going to be a limited run, 8,500 each, and they'll be going for $100 each.
Which is not bad for a physical cartridge in 2018. I think that's actually a pretty decent price. And because it's going to be so limited as well, like they could have easily charged a lot more, in my opinion. When I saw the price, I was like, $100 ain't bad.
No.
I mean, I actually still own my Mega Man X on Super Nintendo.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I still got it. I got about 5 games for Super Nintendo. Mega Man X, Donkey Kong Country 1, some rando game called it's based off a movie. I can't remember what it's called, and I got like 2 more. But yeah, this is going to be really cool. I don't know if I'm actually going to get one though. What about you? Do you think you want to get one?
No.
I think this would be a perfect gift for O. Like if O had a Super Nintendo, I might buy him one, but I don't even know if he has a Super Nintendo. And I'm pretty sure he has like multiple legit copies of Mega Man X.
Yeah. So that's cool. And just a further breakdown, there's going to be 7,500 that looks like the gray one, the opaque.
Like the kind of like the see-through or atomic. That's what they used to call it back in the day.
Yeah, that's the limited run. The translucent one is a glow in the dark translucent blue one is going to be 1,000 cartridges, and then 8,500 of the regular ones. And if they haven't mentioned how these are going out, but if memory serves me right, I Am 8-Bit, when you place your order, you will randomly get one of the special edition ones. You don't you're not able to select it. It's just randomly shipped out to in the 8,500.
Yeah, so there's 8,500 total with the atomic colors being even more limited, but you don't even have to pay extra for it. So that's baller right there.
It's just luck of the draw at this point.
It's luck of the draw. So 2 classic Mega Man games coming out in physical form. Hopefully this is something that other studios take note of, because people love like having this stuff, and like me, like I had a lot of these games like back in the day, and they either just got lost or broken or stolen, so I can understand why a lot of people would want to get their hands on a physical copy of it. When do they go on sale though? Has that been released?
That hasn't been released, but you know what, let me go to the site because I was just there. I should have it right.
It just says later this year.
Yeah, there's no date.
Yeah, so
September, late September. It says ships late September.
Okay. So if you want to get your hands on it, you better do it quickly, because these things are going to go immediately, I would guess.
Right, and the pre-orders are up now.
Okay, so the pre-orders are up now, and go ahead and get it if you want it, because they're going to go quickly. I believe there's way more than
8,500
Mega Man fans. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's 8,500 for each game. Is that
Right.
correct?
8,500 per title. That's correct.
Per title. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Mega Man 2 and Mega Man X. Go ahead and get them for $100 each. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next story, and we're sticking with Nintendo. We were just talking about Nintendo consoles getting new games, new releases, and now we're talking about Steam because they just added support for the Switch Pro controller.
Yeah.
On the on Steam Beta.
Right. I think that's kind of cool.
I think that's actually cool, and you know what? I have not been the biggest fan of the Switch, but I do like that controller.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say the Switch Pro controller.
The Pro controller, yeah,
it's a top-notch controller.
Yeah, I can't deny that is a good controller. And the buttons feel good, the D-pad feels good. It feels good to hold.
Yep, it's solid.
It's a solid. Yeah,
he's taking words out of my mouth because I was going to say I was just going to compliment the D-pad. The D-pad feels really nice. So if you're playing fighting games in Steam, the Switch Pro controller is a good get. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I might actually have to try that out for Dragon Ball Fighters because right now I'm just playing with the DualShock 4. And you know what? I tried it with the Xbox One controller. I don't have the Elite, but I tried with the Xbox One controller, and it wasn't doing good. Yeah, D-pad wasn't doing it for me.
You need that rock. You need that rock and bowl in the Elite. The bowl.
Yeah, you know what? I still haven't gotten one. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really had a need for an Xbox controller, honestly. I'm just saying, collected dust, man. Put my poor Xbox One over there. But yeah, so if you download the most recent version of the Steam beta, you can now use your Switch Pro controller.
Right.
So,
and it's blah blah blah. Okay, so you can calibrate the controller, and you can reprogram the button inputs.
Yes.
Well, and you can do it on the fly. There's a pop out on the screen for you to do it on the fly. You don't have to leave your game to do it. So that's really good. I like that Steam is making everything try to include as much as possible. So now you can play any controller if you're PS4, Xbox, or Nintendo Pro controllers now.
Right, and being able to switch up the inputs is really cool because for the Nintendo controllers, the A, B, and X and Y are reversed.
Yes.
Compared to the Xbox controller, which is kind of like the main controller for Steam. So it's really good that you can switch those buttons over because that's been a big problem for me playing games that are on both Switch and like on Xbox 360 or Xbox One. The buttons don't translate, like they don't switch the buttons over for Nintendo for some reason, so they're just backwards and it feels awful. Like when I was playing Bayonetta 2 on the Switch, like the button.
Why?
I mean on the Wii U, my bad, on the Wii U. Oh no! Please, I would never book it. I would never stoop that low. No, but I had the game on the Wii U, and you know it's the same. It's the same problem. It's the same problem with the A, B, X, and Y are reversed. So yeah, that was not a pleasant experience for me. And I like that Steam is going out of their way to alleviate that problem because that's literally the only problem with those controllers is that the buttons are just backwards.
And that's just Nintendo design.
Yeah. I mean,
that's by design.
And it's crazy because this has been their design since the Super Nintendo, but everybody has, seemed to just adopt the Xbox design, which is kind of crazy
because it's Microsoft and Windows based, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So that would be why.
Yeah. So and how do you get the beta version of Steam? Like, is it a separate download? Like, how does that actually work?
It is a separate download. I don't know if you have to sign up for it, but I know you can go to Valve's the website and you'll be able to find it there. But I'm not sure if you can just download it or if you need to do a sign up first.
Okay.
But you can just go to Valve's website and find it in there.
Yep. So Steam beta, you can use your Switch controller, give you a reason to pick that thing. I haven't touched that thing in so long.
Yeah, I looked at my Switch today. I actually just picked it up and wiped it down with an electronic wipe because it's just dusty.
Oh,
and then I put it back.
Poor Switch. It's just sitting there. It's so lonely. Oh well. But yeah, those are our quick hits. If you have any stories that you would like for us to give our opinions on or something that you would like us to report on, make sure you hit us up on our social media. All the details are right underneath Boogie. If you can see down there in the bottom left hand corner, hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you would like us to talk about, and that will most likely make it into the quick hit section. But you got to be quick though, because Boogie, he is up on it when it comes to gaming news. Every time I see something for the first time, I go to add it to the show notes. Boogie already added it. So if you want your story to be read or discussed on the show, make sure you get there quick, because Boogie is all up on that.
And that's what happens when I got to sit at swim practices. And I'm just sitting there,
just sitting there. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's good because we're never short on stories because Boogie always has time to research. So yeah, those were our quick hits. Let's go ahead and move into the meat and potatoes of the show. And that's going to be the top 5 news stories for this week. But before we jump into that, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, the New Challengers. So let's go ahead and get into that. If I can bring it up, because last time I was having trouble. So let's see if I can actually bring it up this time. Bam! All right, here we go. So if you want to get good at your favorite fighting game with your favorite fighting game character, the New Challenger Discord is the perfect place for you to build that foundation and get ready to, challenge the world in your favorite fighting game. So go to newchallenger.gg, join the Discord, and become a part of a large and growing community filled with fighting game enthusiasts that will do everything in their power to make sure that you understand the basics and, learn advanced tech. They have one-on-one training, group training. They also do weekly and bi-weekly tournaments and games such as Street Fighter V, Injustice 2, and freaking Dragon Ball Fighters. You can go there. All the information is on the website, but make sure that you also follow them on Twitch at New Challenger TV, because they post weekly shows there, like the beginner breakdown and all the such like that. So newchallenger.gg. Shout out to Mr. Vinegar, who is the founder of the Discord channel, and he always makes sure to shout us out on all of his tournaments. And also a big shout out to Mount Lover, because he is a commentator, a coach, and he runs the Dragon Ball Fighter Z tournament. So big shout out to those guys, and thank y'all for sponsoring a weekly gaming news show. We really appreciate it. So now we're getting into the top 5, the meat and potatoes. And the first story that we have up comes from Twitch. This is our new reoccurring segment, because we have free games for gold. We have the PlayStation Plus free games, and now we got the Amazon Prime free games. And May has some hitters. I would say I've played a few of the games on this list. So let's just go down the list and see what we got for the month of May.
So we've got I Hope, we've got Gone Home, Cluster Truck, Titan Souls, Psychonauts, and the last one is what? High Hell?
High Hell.
High Hell 2. No, High Hell.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so a lot of these games are like highly regarded, especially like Psychonauts. It's probably, I've played it. I got it as part of a Humble Bundle. I started it. I haven't gotten too far in it, but it is a pretty cool game in my opinion.
I agree.
The only other ones that I've played are Titan Souls and Cluster Truck. Cluster Truck is a really fun, like arcade. Oh my god, it's so fun! It's like an arcadey style platforming game.
It reminds me of like not Frogger. Oh, what was the game? It was a Nintendo game, but it's similar where you just had to jump across. Because in Cluster Truck, you're just jumping across the trucks.
Yeah.
Can't fall. Yeah. There was an NES game that did something similar. And I can't think of what it is.
I can't think of it. But yeah, Cluster Truck is a really cool. And what's really awesome about this game is that on PC, it has Twitch like functions where your chat can actually influence the type of trucks that you jump over. Because
really?
Oh my god, yes. So they have like a mode where the trucks will get like really skinny, so it's like hard for you to jump on them, or like they'll blow up in 3 seconds, or they'll make you jump really high. So it's really cool. It's a really cool game to stream. I should probably do that really soon, because that was actually given to me by one of our loyal followers over here. So very awesome game. Titan Souls is pretty much a an 8-bit top down Souls like. I would say it's really fun, very challenging.
Yeah, because that's the one kill, right? You just got one arrow to kill a boss with or something.
No, I don't believe so.
I'm confusing it with something else then.
I don't know. I've played it I played a very short amount of it. No, you basically just fighting a bunch of like super huge monsters, and it's kind of like Dark Souls. You're just fighting these like massive monsters, and you got to like do your best to like fight them under like, you know, crazy circumstances. It's pretty fun.
Okay.
I killed a couple of the monsters. The other 3 games I haven't really seen too much of, so I can't speak on them. But they're free, so it's like if you want to try them, all you have to do is go on your Twitch account. If you have Amazon Prime, when you go on Twitch, you'll get a notification for the free games. They're free to download, and you add them to your account. You don't even have to put them on your hard drive if you don't want to right away. So you just put them in your account, and they're yours to play whenever you feel like it.
And what's really nice about the Twitch Prime games is it's just like Xbox games with gold. If you add it to your library, it's yours forever. Even if you decide to cancel or your membership with Prime lapses, those games are still yours. So even if you don't plan on downloading them right now, it doesn't hurt just to add them to your library because they will always be there.
Yep.
Well, as of right now, they will always be there. Terms can change.
Terms can change, but right now they're all there, and they're all free. And you can't beat free, in my opinion.
No, not at all.
So let's go ahead and move on. We got another story for you guys, and we haven't talked about this in a while. The Oculus Go. I remember the last time we talked about it, we were just getting like some details on the specs but now it's been released.
Yeah. So, and I think this is actually kind of cool. I have the PlayStation VR, and I don't use it as much. One of the things I don't like about it is being tethered, because I have wrapped myself up a couple of times. And we know famously I've punched walls.
Yeah.
But it's cool because basically it's a standalone unit. It's not like the PSVR, HTC Vive, or the main Oculus Rift where it has to be tethered to a PC. Yeah. And it's also not like the Gear VR where you need a phone to get it to work. You get the Gear VR for $100, but you still need to put your Samsung device in it. This is fully self-contained device. It comes in 2 versions, a 32 gigabyte and 64 gigabyte, and it's priced pretty nice. $199 for the 32, $249 for the 64. It comes with a controller. And yeah, it's not 6-point controls, it's only 3 points. So basically what that means is it's only tracking your head movement. Okay. Whereas like PSVR, the Rift, and
they'll track your hands and all that.
Yeah, they'll track your body movement. But your hand tracking is with the controller only. If the controller it does your motion for your hands, but like some of the other ones do track your body or where you're at in relation to the room. This one won't necessarily do that. But again, it's a standalone. You can take this on a flight with you. You can take it and play it and lay it in bed. And what's cool is it uses some of the Oculus assets, so you can get to the Oculus store. They have actually some movie channels, so you can watch shows in it. And if you watch show in VR, it's like watching a big screen, like watching a movie theater. Now, to keep the cost down, a lot of the VR headset systems have been putting OLED screens in it. These are using some high-powered LCD tech. They are a pretty good resolution, and I have it. Let me say, I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'm going to look at my notes. The resolution is 2560 by 1440, so better than HD. Okay. Not quite UHD, but it's really good, really high-end resolution. The indication is that you get about 2 hours or so of battery life during standard use, I would guess. But yeah, it's available now. So you can get it from Best Buy, you can order it from Amazon, you can get it from all your typical electronic retailers.
Yeah, pretty cool device, moderately priced. But with it not being like tethered to like either a console or a PC, that does limit the amount of content that you can get on it.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's true, and also limits the power. It's not
going to be
as power as your PC, but I think this is the killer app for VR. I think the killer app is untethered.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if you look at what we have in our pockets every day, right? We look at your Samsungs and your iPhones and your stuff like that. They could have easily put that in the Oculus Rift, but then they would have had to put that price in there too. You're looking at $1,000.
Oh
So
Lord. Yeah.
I think this is a better option to get people used to it and interested in it. And the way the technology goes, in 2 to 3 years, when they want to make the second or third revision, maybe they can be as powerful as today's phones, which are as powerful enough to make some serious gaming.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what would be a really cool way for them to go is if they had the untethered one, but then it could also become tethered. Like, let's say you wanted to invest in, the rest of the equipment,
Right.
you could do so. I don't think that's the case right now. I don't
No.
think that, they're not interchangeable or anything like that.
Yeah,
I think that would be pretty cool, where you can take it on the go, but then you can also have it at home. I feel like that's the next move.
Yeah, that's actually, that would be really nice too. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can basically you just have like a mod, so you can boost the performance, right?
Boost the performance, get content get content onto it that you can take on the go, stuff like that. I mean, there's no telling what the future holds. But I'm still a firm believer that there aren't enough good compelling games for me to want to invest in one. But I mean, the technology is incredible. You can't deny that, and they're getting to a point where they can bring the price down to where it's feasible.
Right.
Yeah.
And yes, I agree. I think VR still needs that killer app. Like I said, I gush poetic about Super Hot, because that is the way I think all VR games should be. I mean, just fully interactive.
Yeah.
And they're all not. A lot of them just use kind of gimmicks, like the game called Moss, where you just control a little mouse and, you can move stuff in the environment. You can look on top and stuff.
Blah, blah.
And it's interesting, but it's still a basic platformer.
It's just, it's like a tech demo pretty much.
No, it's actually a good platformer.
Is it?
But
okay.
It's a platformer.
Okay.
It's just a basic platformer, puzzle platformer at its core.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a good first step in getting VR out to the masses, because even with the PlayStation VR, the Oculus, and the Vive, people look at the prices. I mean, if you look at the PlayStation, it's $400, it's $250, and you get nothing. I mean, entry level, you're looking at $300, right?
Yeah.
You look at the HTC Vive, you look at the Rift, you're looking at $500-$600. Plus, you need $1,000 to $1,500 PC rig to go with it. People aren't interested in that, but a person would be interested in. Oh, it's only $199. More people would be willing to try it.
Yeah.
And when you hit that critical mass, if you get a lot of people in it, that's another way to get developers into the system and bring in new content to it. So yeah, I like it. I wouldn't necessarily go for first generation.
Yeah.
I'll wait for second generation before I would try to put my hands on something like that. But I think it's a good start.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. So let's go ahead and move on. We're going from Oculus Go over to Atari. We haven't talked about Atari in a long time, and we're finally going to get some of the questions, those burning questions that we have been asking are going to get answered finally, because we finally have an idea of what is in the box, essentially.
Right.
So yeah, the Atari VCS, which was the name that was revealed to us last time we talked about it. The pre-orders are going live very soon. There hasn't been a specific date,
it's
but
the end of the month.
Okay, so the end of the month.
The 31st, I think exactly.
Okay, yeah, so the 31st, and we got some of the questions answered. So let's go ahead and get into some of the questions and what's going to be included, and what the hell you're going to be able to do with this thing. Let's go ahead and get into it.
So they set up an Indiegogo for the pre-orders, right?
Okay.
So you go to the Indiegogo. There's going to be two versions. There's a time-limited collector's edition. It's not a limited produced one, but you'll only be able to order it for a limited time. And that's the fall wood one, the one that has the fake wood paneling. That's a 100% callback to the original Atari. If you know about the original Atari 2600, you knew that also had some fake wood paneling on it.
Yeah.
And then there's the Onyx edition, which is just the all-black version. I think it has like a brushed aluminum face on it. And the thing is, the price that's being quoted is $200.
Okay.
Okay, and for $200, they're talking about 4K resolution, HDR,
Mm.
60 frames per second gameplay. It's going to have built-in Wi-Fi. It's going to have
Ooh.
internal storage, be
Mm.
compatible with external storage, USB 3 and Bluetooth 5.
Damn.
That's big talk, right?
Big, yeah. Those
Um,
that's some pretty expensive new age tech going
right.
into an old ass concept.
Right. And previously we've learned that it's Linux based, right?
Yep.
It's going to use a custom AMD chip. So those are some of the specs you're looking at. They say the system will come preloaded with 100 or more classic Atari games. And
Like Asteroid, Centipede, Missile Command,
right.
stuff like that.
But they don't mention which versions. Are they going to be the Atari 2600 version? Are they going to be the 5200 version? Are they going to be arcade versions? Because Centipede on the Atari 2600 and Centipede in the arcade are vastly different.
Yeah, they.
So
I would hope that it's the arcade version, but in the press release it does say preloaded with Atari Vault classics. That's what it says. So I mean, I don't know.
That's so broad because
Yeah,
again, those games I think they were Midway, right? Yeah. Midway did the arcade machine, the stand
right,
ups.
right.
Midway did the stand ups for the Gallica. They did a stand up for Centipede and Millipede and Asteroids. Those were all Midway stand ups. But of course, Atari owns Midway, so they own those rights to those games, I believe.
Right, yeah,
still.
those IPs are theirs.
Right.
Midway just made the arcade machine. They just made the board or whatever.
Right. So I would hope they're not going to try to give me that wonky Pac-Man, Atari Pac-Man. That's disgusting. But
Yeah.
if they give me the arcade machine Pac-Man, if they give me these games and they're the arcade ports as opposed to the Atari 2600 port, I'll be a little more interested.
Ah, man, I don't know because Atari doesn't own anything Pac-Man, so I don't even know if we would get that.
Yeah,
that's Bandai. But yeah, it's interesting because I don't know how much fun I would be able to have with a hundred Atari 2600 games. I mean,
there's no fun in that.
What the hell is with all the HDR 60 FPS? Like, no, like I don't want to play the 2600. Like, what's all this power under the hood for if I'm just gonna be playing like 8-bit games?
And that's
6-bit games.
Yeah, 4-bit. That's also the question. Are they going to be upgrading or making the games, enhancing the games for this new system, or is it just going to be just a one-to-one translation? I would think that maybe they give a widescreen treatment, but really, how much can you really do with those old games to make them playable?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that these are going to be the arcade versions of these classic games. So I wouldn't expect the widescreen treatment. I don't know, because that would mean that they had to go in and pretty much recreate all of their entire classic library. Right. And I don't think Atari has the capacity to do something like that. I don't know how hard of a job that would be, but I mean, I would assume going in and reprogram or programming from scratch 100+ classic arcade games might take a lot of time and money.
Yeah,
especially if they wanted to take advantage of all of this tech here. 4K HDR, 60 FPS, AMD processors. Like you don't need any of that to play Centipede, but
so
I don't know.
There's even more questions. So my question, I don't care about the 100 games because I look at that as a bonus, right?
True.
What is it going to play as far as modern games? Is it playing PC games? Is it a glorified Steam machine? What is this? Truly, what is this? If you tell me 4K 60 frames per second HDR, I'm thinking PC games. I know EA and Activision aren't going to start developing for some random third console that hasn't proven itself, or fourth console, I should say, because I can't discount Nintendo.
Yeah, we almost forgot about them.
Yeah, and their multitude of ports.
Yeah,
we should call it Portendo. Yeah. So what actually are they giving me in the box that's going to take advantage of this modern technology? Yeah. And then another thing that's questionable is in the description they mention the console only. it looks like that for $200 you get the console, but you have to buy the controllers extra.
Oh, the controllers are because they have two different controllers. They have the
Right,
classic joystick, and then they have like a pro controller.
Right, the modern controller they call it. Yeah. So there's no mention as to whether those are going to be included in this pre-order for the $200. The announcement noted that other packages will include the classic joystick and modern controller. So I think for $200 you get the console, and for more than $200, maybe $350, $280, somewhere like that, you're going to be getting the console, the complete set, a console with a controller.
Right, but it does have Bluetooth capabilities, so I would not expect for you to not be able to use other controllers on it.
And that's what makes me think that this is going to be a Steam machine, because if you're going to ship it without a controller, that indicates to me that I can use another controller.
I better be able to use another controller. Come on now. What kind of console doesn't ship with one controller? I mean, damn. Yeah, so
Atari does ship with
I don't know.
Atari VCS, but it's interesting.
I hate that name.
I still want to see more. That's a callback to the original days. The original Atari was called the VCS, the Video Computing System.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I keep wanting. I don't know. I didn't have. I was a little too young for the Atari, so when I look at it, I want to say VCR really badly. The Atari VCR.
It's basically got its nomenclature from that particular time, because that's what they all did, right?
Yep.
But that's what it is. It's a callback to the original Atari. And that's why it's called VCS. Yeah.
Oh, so that was a pun that went right over my head. Okay, I got it. I'm hip now. Yeah. So pre-orders going live at the end of the month. You can get it for $200, no controller included, and 100 games that may or may not take advantage of the system's power. So we got some answers, but it raised more questions.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait until the end of the month to see exactly what it comes with, because you're getting one, right, Boogie?
What?
I know you want one of them things, man. Come on now.
I may. I don't know. I have to see.
That wood paneling, man. Come on, dog. It's gonna look real good in the setup, man.
Nah, I'm a modern. My setup is modern.
I know.
I don't have to put it around here. My desk is wood. I want to get rid of that.
All right, so yeah, that's enough from Atari. I'm actually curious. I mean, we got some answers, but man, I have more burning questions.
These are burning questions.
Yeah, so Atari
still got. Is, what am I using it for?
I don't know, dude. I still don't know. We'll have to wait and see. They're keeping a lot of things just like they're really tight-lipped about some really core aspects of this console. It's crazy. It worries me too. And the fact that they're going about it with the Indiegogo like a fundraising campaign in order to pre-order, like that doesn't make any sense either.
That does, because Kickstarter is not like Indiegogo has a farther reach in some.
Okay, so it's not like Kickstarter. Okay, yeah. I was thinking it was like the one-to-one with Kickstarter. Where
it is one-to-one like with Kickstarter, but Indiegogo has a wider release, worldwide release.
Okay.
So it's available in more countries than Kickstarter is.
Okay, all right. So I guess I'm just saying it's weird for them to go with a crowdfunding campaign model. Or a pre-order for something that's already like been created. Announced. You know what I'm saying? It just seems kind of weird that they're doing it that way. I don't know.
I think that it's a lot of people, a lot of these companies now, especially when you see a bigger company do it, they're doing it for the marketing push as opposed to the need for funding.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We got a couple more stories for you guys, and this one I could give two shits about because we're talking about Madden.
Right. I found this one interesting because we talk about executives leaving and directors leaving.
And there has been a lot recently.
Recently, yeah.
Yeah.
But this one kind of struck me because of some of the quotes that came out of it.
Okay.
So the Madden NFL creative director, Rick Dixon, he's been doing this for the past... Yeah, Rick Dixon. Rex
Dixon. Okay.
Yeah, Rex Dixon. I'm sorry.
Rick Dixon. That was a funny name, but yeah, go ahead.
But he's been with EA for 12 years. He's been the creative director of Madden for the past 6. He's the one who brought the current what's it called? The Madden story mode. Whatever the Madden story mode.
What's it called? Like the franchise mode or something like that?
Yeah, no, not the franchise. They brought a story mode into it, almost like the one in NBA 2K or you play, or like the show where you get a named character. You go through his story as he makes his way from high school to through the NFL.
Okay. I couldn't tell you what it's
I
called, but
can't
yeah.
think of the name of it. I played a little bit. It's actually kind of interesting. It's a decent story,
Okay.
I would say. But he's leaving the company, and from some of the quotes, it seems like it wasn't his first choice. One quote that came out of this is that he and other studios decided, and I quote, this was the best path forward for everyone involved. And it also says will allow the Madden franchise a chance to move it in a new direction.
Oh wow. It's called Long Shot.
Yeah,
Madden
long shot.
Yeah.
That's it. Madden long shot. That's it. But the most interesting one is he has a quote that says, "I leave behind a team that includes player first advocates," and he lists a bunch of names. And what else? "I'm filled with hope when I think about the passion of those who will pick up the flag and fight on for the future of the Madden franchise." So
that's a weird thing to say as you're leaving, because
Right.
as the creative director, like, don't you have the capacity to move the franchise in a new direction yourself? So like,
No.
why no?
not in EA. I mean that.
I'm saying, like, if he is so passionate about Madden and moving it into a new direction, why is he leaving? That's my question.
I think that's the problem. I think the higher ups are saying we want it to go this way. He's like, no, as the creative director, I think it should go left. And the higher ups like, no, we want it to go right. He's
I
like,
wanted
well,
to stay right, because that's where it's been.
and so he's like, well, if we can't come to an impasse, I think it's time for me to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And he's named a group of people that he thinks that will continue to try to keep Madden where it's at. But that makes me wonder, what changes is EA trying to push that he's
Not on board with.
that he's not on board with? Yeah, I mean, this seems like more of an infight than a guy retiring and moving on.
Right.
And he actually found another job with Backflip Studios
Who the hell are they?
as a design manager. I've never heard of them. But yeah, so I think there could be some kind of controversial changes coming up, or
Looks like
could
they
be
make a bunch of like mobile games.
yeah, or there could be no changes coming up. It could be just like status quo. Maybe he said he wanted to do something a little more risky, and we know big guys don't like risk.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No, stay the course. They're like, well, there's no need to change anything. Let's keep it going the way it is. So it'll be interesting to see. We won't be able to see anything until the next version. Like this year's Madden 19 is pretty much done, right? It's probably it's close to done. No major changes for this year, but maybe next year when Madden 20 comes out, there may be some kind of direction change that's different.
I don't know. I mean, I wanted to think that. I mean, like before I actually, when I read the headline, I wanted to think that him departing had something to do with the whole like loot box debacle that's been going on, because everybody has been cracking down on like the, FIFA with the, what's that thing called?
The FIFA Ultimate Team.
The Ultimate Team. They've been cracking down on that. Madden has a similar thing.
They have the exact same thing.
Yeah, they have the exact same thing in Madden as well. So I wanted to think that, with the whole crackdown on Ultimate Teams and loot boxes in general, that, he would decide to leave. But no, he actually name dropped a lot of people that, he thinks will keep Madden in a stable direction.
Right.
So yeah, I'm more inclined to agree with you that, this has something to do with Madden or EA Sports wanting to make some very drastic changes to the franchise that he wasn't about.
Right, or vice versa,
or vice versa. Yeah,
he feel like, okay, Madden is stale and it needs to do something different, and EA is like, no, we're just going to keep doing it the way we're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, because they haven't had any competition in.
They brought out the competition.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
like
they own the rights.
It's been over a decade since they've had exclusive rights to the NFL. So they haven't really needed to innovate in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they're still releasing these games yearly for full price, when I don't even think that that's necessary.
No, I've long said they should just release roster updates, and in today's climate where everybody wants games as a service, that's the
perfect games for service right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, $20, $30 a year, and you get the roster updates. And maybe every 3 or 4 years, maybe there's a change in the engine, some a drastic change that you have to rebuy the game. But I don't feel that Madden is worth $60 every year.
No,
Which is
not at
why I
all.
haven't paid $60 for Madden since I think 14.
Okay, good for you. Save that money.
Yeah.
But yeah, him stepping down just adds to the list of a lot of executives in the gaming industry that are either stepping down, being forced out of their positions, or just upright getting fired.
Yeah, you're getting fired. Shown the door.
Showing the door, yeah, pink slipped it. So we'll see what happens. Like you said, this current edition of Madden is probably already done in the books, so we won't see. Well, hopefully we won't see any negative changes to the front. But again, like I said when I started, this has no bearing on me. I don't play Madden. I'm more of a arcade sports type guy, and there hasn't been a blitz in like 5 years, so I'm good.
There won't be EA owns. No,
EA owns
Midway.
Blitz now. No, EA owns Blitz now.
What
Yeah,
did Midway do?
Midway did Blitz, but they what's it called? Midway went under, they bought the Blitz, the rights to the Blitz IP,
and then killed it.
Yeah, they released the title on Xbox Live Arcade. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't Blitz.
Right. And what was the other one? Didn't they come out with a Backbreaker? What was that? Who was that game?
I think that was Midway before they went under. It was Backbreaker or something like that.
Yeah.
It was basically a whole bunch of like NFL legends that weren't that did play. They weren't on any current teams, and they had like a crazy league, and man, that game was fun as shit.
They show you the hits, and they
god,
the X-ray.
The X-rays and people like juicing, and that game was fun, and I was good at it. I remember I played that thing online all the time. Like, you better catch it if you want to. I'm gonna kill you. You coming through the middle, you're dead. literally. But yeah, so let's go ahead and move on. We got one more story in our top 5, and this is actually plays to what we were talking about at the beginning, at the top of the show. With the Hall of Fame, because 4 new games are going to be added to the Hall of Fame, adding to the list of a lot of classics that we mentioned earlier. So being added this time around is 4 games. We have Tomb Raider, we have the original NFL Madden. We have Final Fantasy, is that 7?
7, yeah, Final Fantasy 7.
And what's the last one?
Space War.
Space War
is apparently the first video game ever, and it was actually played on like an oscilloscope, I think it was. I looked it up, but it's odd. It wasn't on a video game machine. They just repurposed a piece of equipment they had in the lab and started playing this game.
Yeah, a lot of video games started off as like demos for the military, like stuff like that. Like demos is not the right word. Simulations. Because I remember because my dad works for the Department of Defense, and I remember they had like tank and like plane simulators down in like the basement. I used to love going down there and playing some of those shows. Oh god, it's so fun. But so this is actually really cool, and all 4 of these games deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I can't believe that Final Fantasy VII is just now getting there, because that's probably one of the game of the century to a lot of people. I have not played it. I plan on picking up the remake when that comes out. Boogie is not amused.
Final Fantasy is a fabulous game.
Mm-hmm.
I played Final Fantasy through and through. I probably beat the game 7, 8, 9, 10 times.
Okay.
I still say it's overrated.
Boogie, you are making some online enemies right now.
I'm sorry. It just is. I'm sorry. The way people wax poetic about it, like it's the greatest game in history, and it's good. It has a good story. It has good gameplay, but slowly.
Yeah, and it's actually the first in the franchise to be added to the Hall of Fame too. There's no other games in the franchise there.
Yeah, just pump your brakes on Final Fantasy. Now, just to be fair, I don't think that it's not deserving. I'm sure I do believe it deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not going to, and I do absolutely recognize its cultural effect, its social effect, and how a lot of games, again, just like I talked earlier, how people started pulling from Call of Duty. A lot of JRPGs started pulling features and modes and stuff out of Final Fantasy VII and sticking it in their game.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning that. I think it's a little bit overrated. The way people wax poetic about it annoys me. But yes, it deserves a spot. I think all 4 titles deserve their spot.
Oh yeah, because Tomb Raider is a classic. One of the first games to have a female as the prominent character. Spawned a slew of sequels. The remake or the reboot is doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Just launched a new movie. They had a previous movie franchise with Angelina Jolie. So you can't deny Tomb Raider's place in the gaming history. Some would say that games like Uncharted wouldn't exist without Tomb Raider.
Exactly.
So you gotta respect that.
Yeah,
And then of course Madden football. I mean,
I remember playing Madden. So in Madden, when it came out, this is when the Giants were great. Well, they weren't that great, but Lawrence Taylor was on the team. And the thing is,
oh my God, you almost spit out my juice.
The thing is, the defensive players played everywhere they were on defense. So on kickoff, it was a regular 11 on defense. And I learned how many button presses it took to get Lawrence Taylor. And he was like the fastest dude, and nobody could block him. So he just run through, knock people over, tackle, get fumbles. It was crazy. Madden was awesome at that day. And I think it took him Madden 95 was the first year they had an NFL license. Before that, they didn't have it.
It was just football. It was just Madden football.
And they just used the team names and similar colors.
Yeah, I remember that. I think the first football game that I actually played was Tecmo Bowl. That was the first one I played. It was a little bit more arcadey. But I remember the cartridges on the Genesis. They weren't the normal size cartridges. They were like the extra tall ones with that little like yellow slip on the side. Yeah,
that's all EA games were like
that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
EA games were like that too. The basketball games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I definitely remember those. Had a couple of Madden games in my collection when I was younger. I also used to like the oh my God, those freaking the NCAA games. Oh, those were so fun. Those were so fun. I had a really good one, and I remember when I was playing one. If you took too long, somebody in the crowd would just be like, "Shoot it," and that like groggly 16-bit voice. It was so fun.
The first year for NFL Madden was Madden 94, which was released in 93. I thought it was like 94, 95. Yeah. So Madden 94 was the first NFL licensed Madden. Madden deserves. I
can't say anything wrong about any of these games. I mean, I haven't played Space War, but being known as the first video game ever, I mean, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
And just for listeners, some of the other games that are in the Hall of Fame include Donkey Kong, Doom, GTA 3, which was the first 3D GTA, because before that, 1 and 2 were top-down games.
Yeah.
Halo, Combat Evolved, the first Halo, Legend of Zelda, the Oregon Trail, which is like, that's crazy. I remember playing that in elementary school.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Apple IIe.
Oh my God, such a fun game.
Pac-Man, Pokemon Red and Green, Pong, The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, Space Invaders, Street Fighter 2, Super Mario Brothers, Tetris, World of Warcraft. And I think every one of those games or franchises listed on there absolutely deserve it.
Yeah, I agree 100% on that as well. So congratulations to the 4 franchises or the 4 series that are being added to the Hall of Fame. We talked about earlier in the show some of the franchises that we think deserve to be in the Hall of Fame as well, and we would still like to know about what Hall of Fame games you think deserve to be there. So don't forget, hit us up on our social media on Facebook and Twitter, and let us know what you think. What franchises do you think belong in the Gaming Hall of Fame? Because there's a lot, man. A lot of serious pop culture influence come from video games. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on, because that was our top 5 news stories. And now we're going to move on to our next segment, which is going to be This Week in Loot Boxes, brought to you by PUBG. PUBG is in the news. We're talking about it. So let's go ahead and jump into that. What do we have coming out this week in loot boxes?
Okay, so what PUBG has, or the PUBG Corp has done, and it's not negative. They haven't done anything horrible.
Right.
But what they did do is disable private trading. Basically in PUBG, at least on PC, you were able to trade with your friends. If you got an item, that's what it was supposed to be for. You can, if I got an item, say I got a hat, and I had one. I said, hey, yo, Sonic, you want this hat? I'll trade it to you for something. And that's how it was supposed to work. But what popped up was a market of third-party websites that allows you to sell using that private trading system. And that's against PUBG's terms of service. And it may also be them trying to head off the issue that we talked about last week in Belgium, where they found a bunch of loot boxes. And the week before that in the Netherlands, right? The Dutch,
Netherlands,
right? Yep, where they found loot boxes wanted. So they turned off this outside trading. They said it may come back later. And this is for the PC only, as far as I've read. I mean, it's a very short little blurb on there on the PUBG forums. But
they may not be including the console version because technically it's still in early access. It hasn't been officially released yet. So that could be the reason why.
And it does not affect the Steam Marketplace. So you can still put your stuff up on the Steam Marketplace, but you cannot trade one-to-one private trading, which basically cuts out those third-party sites that will allow you to sell for. Basically, you were able to sell for real-world money.
Yeah.
And they said it's against their rules, their code of conduct. It's not what it was intended for. They did say they will try to work on a solution that they can bring it back. But until they figure something out, it's just disabled.
Yeah, because they are not playing. These foreign countries, foreign to outside of the U.S., they're not playing when it comes to loot boxes. What's it called? Was it Belgium? They have outright said, "Hey, this is illegal, and not only are we going to fine you guys if you don't change it, but some of you guys can actually serve jail time."
Yes.
Like, and that's a crazy thing to think about, video game developers, publishers being sent to jail over loot boxes. It's a crazy thought.
Not undeserving.
No, not at all. Because, just look at all the damage that they've done, man.
Right.
Yeah. So, this is them trying to get ahead of that. They definitely don't want no parts of it. And so I agree with it. Because PUBG already has a pretty insidious loot box system going on.
It's one of the worst ones.
It's one of the worst ones, yeah. So them getting out of the outside trading game will definitely save them in the long run. I believe.
And if you remember early on in PUBG, it was a red bandana. People were actually paying $1,000 cash to get this red bandana. So it's definitely a problem in the rarity of their items, and they know it.
Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they come up with and how this continues, because I think there's a way. The Europeans are much more strict on these capitalist type endeavors than we are here in the United States or here in North America.
Yeah,
and they will lay the smackdown on you. It's the Dutch and the Netherlands now, but I mean, Germany is strict on this stuff. The Italians are strict on this stuff. The Spaniards are strict on this stuff. So that stuff, it goes right across the EU like a blue wave, and nobody will be able to have loot boxes in the EU.
Yeah,
at all.
And the EU is a large market for video games.
Absolutely,
it's probably number 3, the third largest market behind US and Japan.
In Japan, yeah.
So we'll have to see. I mean, I'm all for them leading the charge against loot boxes. Hopefully the US follows suit. But that was This Week in Loot Boxes, brought to you by PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. If you have any loot box related stories, because we never want to become a show that, just falls back on loot boxes, because I'm a firm believer that if we stop talking about it, we stop giving them hell for what they're doing to the gaming industry, that's when, they want us to forget about this stuff so that they can continue to implement it.
Yes.
So the more we talk about it, the more it's on people's minds. the better off we'll be, the faster we can get this phase of gaming behind us. So we're going to keep talking about it, and we would like for you to join in on the conversation. So not only do we want you guys to let us know what you think, but also submit stories to us as well. So let's go ahead and move on. And this is going to be our Q&A section. We have a couple of questions asked by our live chat, because we are streaming this live across 4 platforms. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on Mixer, and we're on Facebook. So if you watch us live, because we always want to try and include our live audience in our show. So if you're ever watching us live, you can ask us questions. We'll answer them, during this segment. You can also ask us questions on our social media using the hashtag AWGNS. And, we'll get those questions asked right here live on the show. And so we have a couple from one of our premium subscribers over on Twitch. The homie Maury Jin has a couple of questions for us. So let's go ahead and get into it. What's the first question that we have?
Do you think Nintendo Labo will gain some popularity, or will it flop?
This is an interesting question, and this is something that we talked about in a limited capacity back when the Labo was announced, and then again when it was released. I think the Nintendo Labo is like the perfect tool for young children. It gets their imagination going. They get to build stuff. They get to play, like tinker around with like toys and, like expand their minds a bit. I don't think it's going to flop, but I do not think it's going to gain too much more popularity. Since the release, I haven't heard anything about it anywhere. None of the prominent YouTubers that I follow have been playing with it, or like putting up videos or streaming with it. None of them that I watch, and I watch some pretty high profile people on YouTube and Twitch. Nobody's playing it. And I'm a firm believer that that Nintendo came out with the cardboard model so that people can break it and they can resell it to them. They're trying to make a killing on the cardboard out here.
Well, I think it's going to be a niche. I think it's going to be definitely in the maker's niche, because let me say this: that Labo kit, the Labo software, does allow for you to make custom items as well.
Okay.
So you can make your own custom items and get it to work with that particular software. I think it's a great idea for families. If you have, like me, I have young children. My daughter's dying to get it, and I just got to find a weekend where I can, because the next probably 4 weekends are busy for us.
Yeah.
A weekend will be a time when we do it. But once I have a weekend, I will get it, and we'll sit down and we'll play with it.
We can get a boogie review.
Yeah, I'll give you a review or my thoughts on it, not necessarily a review. But I think it's a great idea. It's not going to be big like, say, Super Mario, Mario
Maker or something like that,
or Zelda, anything like that, because it is a small niche. I think it's a great idea for people with kids. I think makers will be doing some outrageous stuff with it, because that's what makers do.
Yeah.
But as far as being a mainstream hit, no, I don't think it's going to be a mainstream hit.
Yeah, we won't see this game the game of the year unless it's rigged.
I don't know. Mario Kart got racing game of the year.
Yeah, 4-year-old Wii U title got racing game of the year over freaking Forza.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. All right, next question. Another one from the homeboy Maury Jin. He has a lot of questions for us, so we're here to answer. So let's go ahead and get into it. What's the next question we got?
So we got, with the new Call of Duty War release coming up, do you think, with the current trend of Battle Royale, will the new Call of Duty follow that trend? So I think what he's asking is, will Call of Duty have a Battle Royale mode? Yes.
They've already announced that they will have a Battle Royale mode. It's going to replace the traditional single player campaign mode. They're going to replace that with Battle Royale. And from what I've read, the story mode was actually halfway done before they scrapped it and then decided to go with Battle Royale. And we actually mentioned this a little early in the show, how I was disappointed at how Call of Duty instead of being the industry leader in the FPS genre, they're actually following the battle royale, PUBG and Fortnite. They're following in those guys' footsteps because it's what's popular right now.
And they've been doing that for years. I mean,
for a couple of years.
The last thing they've come out with that was, you can quite say was innovation, was when they added the Nazi zombies. That was huge.
But I mean, that's just horde mode. Everybody had been doing everybody had been doing horde mode.
It had been just a basic horde mode. They added their little spin with the Nazi zombies and the building, which is kind of cool, but they've been copying for years now. They haven't, I don't think they've innovated or done anything innovative maybe since Modern Warfare 2, maybe Black Ops. I just haven't seen it from them, and it's been since the acquisition, or since what's his name? Is it Bobby Kotick?
I don't remember.
At Activision, since he's taken over, it's all about safe and what's going to sell the most titles.
What's going to sell the most titles? Yep. What's currently popular? Following those trends. They're going to follow. They're going to follow the trends until people stop giving them money.
Yeah, the least amount of risk is their thing,
and just like with Battlefront 2, it's gonna take something drastic for them to change their ways, because.
Well, I think there's gonna be a bubble with the battle royale mode, and it's just like everything else. I mean, everybody jumps on it. Just recently, everybody was jumping into the MOBA thing, and a bunch of MOBAs just blew up, and now they're trickling down to it's coming down. The same thing with the team shooters. Everybody jumped into it, and we had the Lawbreakers debacle, right?
Yep.
And people are moving away from that. This is just the next big thing for everybody to jump on. And there's going to be a few out there that's going to be the cream of the crop, stuff like maybe Fortnite, maybe PUBG, or maybe there's something else out there that's going to show
Most likely Fortnite, but go ahead, because they're killing it.
There may be something else. Well, it's rumored that RDR is going to have a battle royale mode. RDR 2, that's the rumor.
Oh man.
So anyway, I think
not gonna lie, I would play the fuck out of that shit. But go ahead.
I can't disagree with you.
I'll play that shit.
I can't disagree with you. But yeah,
my god,
I think everybody's gonna do it. Call of Duty is already doing it. And this is just the bubble's gonna bust, and there's gonna be a few out there that's gonna stand the test of time. And when you look at like Overwatch is the team shooter, the class-based shooter, I should say. You look at
hero shooter.
Hero shooter, yeah. You look at like League of Legends is
the MOBA.
And you're gonna have a game that's going to be the battle royal game.
Yeah.
There'll be other ones out there, and there's gonna be others that's gonna still maintain a foothold, because we look at Fortnite and PUBG, they are different enough that both of them can survive and have their own strong communities.
Yeah, it'll be the copycats like Radical Heights and whatever H1Z1 is trying to do. Those ones will be the ones that kind of simmer down the popularity of that kind of genre, and it'll just boil down to like maybe one or two games that just stay on top.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
So we'll see where Call of Duty fits among those games.
I don't even see Call of Duty the fast-paced nature of Call of Duty. I can't even see how that's gonna. I mean, it takes like 2 bullets to kill a person.
Yeah.
Pop, you're dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that super fast-paced gameplay is going to really work in a battle royale setting.
Yeah, I don't know. They'd have to make some drastic changes to, just how you play Call of Duty. It'll basically be 2 games in one. It'll be the battle royale, and then there'll be, standard run-of-the-mill multiplayer of Call of Duty.
Right. There's going to have to be a major adjustment to the time to kill, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So we have an extension to that question here. It said, with the slow decline in Call of Duty popularity, do you think this one will make or break the franchise? No, I personally don't think it's going to make or break it. I really think that they are dividing up their player base right now, though. Because a lot of people, because on social media, a lot of people are not happy that Call of Duty is adding in Battle Royale. I mean, with the previous release, a lot of people were not happy that Call of Duty was going into space. It's like, okay, we don't want this. Right. Call of Duty has been doing the same thing for so many years. A lot of people just like that same thing over and over and over.
Exactly.
And it's not even like Call of Duty is innovating. They're not even trying to innovate and make something new and different for their player base. They're just copying and pasting other ideas and
into the game.
just pushing out a Call of Duty game.
I
And I think that might be the downfall. I'm not gonna say this is gonna make or break it, but I do think that they're just slowly splitting their player base into these like little like subsections.
So they've been doing that with all the different developers, because there's people out there that won't buy Infinity Ward game. There's people that won't buy Treyarch. There's people that won't buy Sledgehammer.
Yeah.
So there's three factions right there. Now they're already doing that. So I think what's going to happen, they're going to have their Assassin's Creed moment, where it's going to be a thing where it's just going to be a huge backlash. Whether it's because why do you put Battle Royale in? I hate Battle Royale. I wanted my single player. I'm not buying it. Or something else is going to happen and people aren't going to buy the game, and they're going to have to take some time off and decide exactly
where they want
Call
the
of Duty to be.
I think that's it's and that's the same thing with all of these like yearly releases. And I've been talking about this with Call of Duty for a while now. Like I knew a Call of Duty will come out, and then 6 months later there's an announcement for the next Call of Duty. Like that's crazy. That's crazy to me. Give it a break. I think they will have their breaking point soon, and they're probably going to take like a year or two off and buckle down and focus, and then we'll probably get one of the best first person shooters ever once that happens. But
I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is they're going to break it. They're going to take time off, and something else is going to come along, and when they come back, people are going to just call it what?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really think if they stopped with this like 3-team rotation that they got going on and just brought together a singular Call of Duty team, that if they took like a good 3 years to make one, it will probably be the best one that they can possibly make. Because right now they split Call of Duty into 3 teams. It's like you have 3 separate teams making games in the same franchise. It doesn't make any sense.
I think, and I like what Ubisoft is doing with Assassin's Creed, where they're like, look, we're putting them out too fast, too much, and now they took a break with Origins. There's no Assassin's Creed coming out this year. Maybe there's one next year, maybe not. But I like
we might get an announcement next year.
Yeah, I like that they take your time with it, work on other IPs, and if you have to have a major release every year, have 3 or 4 different IPs that's releasing on the rotation. Assassin's Creed this year, last year, maybe the Division this year, next year, Rainbow Six, the year after that, Ghost Recon, and then they can come back to Assassin's Creed again.
Yeah. Because like and it's been shown over and over and over again, when you take your time and you make a game that is good, people are just gonna buy it because it's good. I mean, look at God of War, selling millions of copies. It is a single player linear adventure game, action adventure game, something that a lot of people think is a dead genre. And that thing is selling. It is selling on exclusively on the PlayStation 4. And millions of copies sold already.
People don't think that. The stupid publishers think that.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Because that's what they're pushing, and that's the perception right now, is that these games are not sellable or whatever.
If you look at the last few that came out, they did amazing.
Horizon Zero Dawn,
Assassin's Creed, God of War, what's the game?
Legend of Zelda.
Super Mario Odyssey.
What the hell?
It's not just because it's Mario and it's Zelda. It's because people clamor for that epic single player story. I mean, even if you look at Far Cry did really good. I mean, yeah.
So we'll have to see. There is going to be a breaking point. I don't know if it's going to be this one, because like it or not, Call of Duty still sells millions of copies every single release. So we'll have to see. I mean, the numbers are going to dictate what they do next. If it doesn't sell, they're going to have to buckle down and come up with something that will sell. But if it sells, if it becomes even close to what they're imagining the sales figures to be, they'll just keep doing what they've been doing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're basically just waiting for the breaking point.
Yep. I agree. And I one last thing I would say is and I play, I play Destiny, and there's a lot of cross play. People play Destiny, they play Fortnite, they play other games. I remember back in the Destiny 1 days when I was in my clan, when the Call of Duties were coming out, you hear people talk about, Call of Duty's coming out, they made an announcement. I don't hear that anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that in a couple of years.
I feel like it's impossible to clamor for a Call of Duty game. They just come out too often. It's like you never miss Call of Duty.
Right. And I mean, one thing I have heard recently, and I mean, not recently within the past, because it's probably a few months ago, is like, I barely have time to get into Call of Duty before a new one comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll just have to wait for that breaking point until we see some drastic changes to that, to their current model. But yeah, that was our Q&A section. If you have questions for us, you don't have to watch us live, although we would appreciate it. But if you're not watching us live, you're watching this after the live show, ask us questions on Twitter. Use the hashtag AskAWGNS. We track the hashtag, so we'll be able to get all of your questions. And we'll answer them right here on the stream. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next segment. That's going to be our long form discussion. And this week we are talking about something pretty serious. This is something that has been reoccurring, and it's been in gaming forever, but it's been prominent in the last couple of weeks. We've been talking about scams in gaming. So this week we want to talk about who they affect and how to avoid them. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
Right. So this definitely the past few weeks. But one thing that I've been seeing a lot, and as I peruse the gaming news on various sources, apparently YouTube has a Fortnite problem. There's a thing going around on YouTube where there's a bunch of people that basically what's happening is these scammers are hijacking defunct YouTube channels. Channels that are out there, they're still live but haven't had content in months or sometimes even years. They have a few followers on it, maybe a couple of hundred followers or so, subscribers, I should say. And they're throwing up these videos to get free in-game currency in Fortnite.
Yeah. And
it's a scam. People are getting their accounts stolen. And this is not this is not unusual. I mean, this goes back to years. I remember back in the Xbox 360 days, people would fish for your Xbox 360 accounts. I know a friend of mine back on Xbox 360 had his account stolen, and he had to call Microsoft, and it took a long time. Probably took him about a month to actually reclaim his account. And by the time he reclaimed it, they bought a bunch of FIFA packs on his account and all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah. It's just a mess. And
I actually signed into my Xbox 360 account as it was being stolen one time. So the system hadn't fully caught up with what was going on. Like my password hadn't changed right away. So as soon as I saw what was going on, I called up Xbox and we were able to actually get it back fairly quickly. Changed my password, did all that jazz. But it's real, man. People will steal want your account.
Right.
It's crazy.
And the thing is, the way the accounts are set up today, especially somebody like me, I have literally my account is worth thousands of dollars because
apparently
I have hundreds of games. So if somebody swiped my account, they have all of my games, right? Yep. So every digital game that I've ever purchased on the Xbox One, Xbox 360, or my PlayStation or whatever, if you swipe my account, that stuff is now all yours.
Yeah.
And that can be valuable, and those accounts are sold on the black market.
It is.
Now, Xbox account with X amount of games and X level prestige in this game.
Gamer score.
Yep, all that stuff. People will buy it, and me personally, my recommendation: the first thing you should do, especially if you're playing on Sony, if you're playing Sony's PlayStation, your Microsoft Xbox, turn on two-factor authentication. Yeah. That's the first thing you do. I prefer Microsoft's two-factor as opposed to PlayStation's, because PlayStation's two-factor is only SMS texting. The Xbox One uses an authenticator code. Yep. Authenticator codes are safer because they can't be intercepted. SMS can theoretically be intercepted much easier. So definitely any of your accounts, any account that you have, even if it's not a video game account, any type of account you have that you don't want somebody to get a hold of, definitely turn on two-factor authentication. But just be careful. You have to be careful, because if it's too good to be true,
it probably is. I mean, just recently, and I would say like within the past couple of months, I have been getting these random messages from people that are not on my friends list on PlayStation. And it's basically like this group message where somebody will just message a whole bunch of people, hey, you can get free PS Plus like currency or whatever, or free points in this game or that game. And like, I didn't even know at first how I was getting these messages. I had to go into my privacy settings and set it to where I only could receive messages from my friends or friends of friends.
Right.
So that you have to set it to that, because, you know, if your account is open for messages, anybody can message you. They don't have to be on your friends list. And then that opens up, you know, and I never, like, I would always go and see what the message was, but like, I would never, like, you never click those links, man.
On those links.
Never click those links. But yeah, I would be like, who the hell is this sending me these messages? Because, you know, I get the notification and I'm like, I don't have many friends on PlayStation 4. So I don't know why I would be getting a message from anybody that I wasn't playing a game with or something like that. So it's just really weird how it happens.
And most of those links, if you do click those links, the first thing it asks you for, your username and password.
Yeah.
And you give your username and password, that's captured in a database, and you are done.
You're done. So what you want to do, if you ever run across, and you know, this is how you can avoid some of this stuff and prevent it in the future. If you ever see any of those, like, oh, free Xbox points or free you know, money, free games on, you know, PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Store, report it, man. You have to report it. If you see it, you know, report it, block the user, and then go about your business. And also update your privacy settings so that you can't even receive these messages. Because, you know, I've reported some, and then, you know, they'll get back to you. It's like, okay, we've deleted this account. They'll reassure you. So that is a good feature there, that the fact that you can report and block other users, because they're rampant, man. Like, there was a point where I had like hundreds of unread messages on my PlayStation. And I'm like, who is this? I don't even know who this is.
Yeah, that's one of the, when I first got my PlayStation Pro back, that's something I started seeing right away. Exactly. Yeah. I was getting like 4 or 5 a day, and you know, I have the apps on my phone, so I would see it on my phone.
Get on your phone first, yeah.
So I would just delete it, and just like you said, I went in and changed my settings to block all messages except for, I didn't even do friends of friends. I
just friends.
Only friends, yeah. Blocked only messages from friends, and yeah, just never go on those sites. And that's just general. Anything, even if you're in email and you're getting something that looks like it's from your bank, or getting something that looks like it's from your cable company, never click a link in the email. Go out to that site. The big thing I get now, because I'm an iOS guy, I have an iPhone, I get Apple messages all the time, quote unquote Apple messages. Yeah. And what's funny is they'll say, thank you for this purchase, and it'll be some random purchase for like $30. I'm like, I didn't buy anything. So I delete it, and what I'll do is I'll delete it, and then I'll go on my phone or on my computer. I go and personally put in the proper address, and I just go check to make sure that there was actually no purchases that I wasn't unaware of. Right. But it's something that they do, or they say your account is expiring. I got one for Microsoft probably in March. I got one from Microsoft. The same thing. It says, act now or your account will be deleted. And it says, go to this site. You go to the site. It says, what's your username and password? And it's like, come on, man. Stop.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so you have to look out, because not only are people trying to steal like your profiles, but they're trying to steal like your in-game accounts, and you know, they're trying to sell them off. So you got to protect yourself. That's pretty much what we're getting at here. Protect yourself and avoid scams, because they are real, they are rampant, and you know, I've just been seeing a huge influx of these things recently, but these things have been out for decades, man.
Right.
I remember looking up GameFAQs back in the day. You know, you could get your freaking memory card stuck in a toaster or something like that if you follow the directions properly. so you never want to. You always have to take things with a grain of salt. Never take these messages, or you know, like, never take these things at face value, because somebody's always out to get you.
Right. Again, I can't state this enough. If you don't have it turned on, and this all the accounts, Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go into the security settings, turn in two-factor authentication. At the very least, they're going to have put in a phone number for SMS text. Some of them have SMS text and authenticators, but turn on one of those two-factor authorizations, because what'll happen is once somebody hijacks you, when they try to log in, even if they try to change the password, it's going to act for the second factor, and you'll get that notification on your phone, and you can say, hey, no, it's
that
not
ain't me,
and they're stuck. And it's also, it behooves you, because another thing that's out there is data breaches, data leaks. And sometimes these companies, they have passed laws now that these companies have to let the public know within, I think, 72 hours, right? Mm-hmm. That's still a lot of time that passes while these people have it. But on top of that, there's instances where companies may not know for 6 months. There's instances they may not know for a whole year, and your information is out there, and you don't really have any protection against that. So if you do not have two-factor,
shout out to Equifax.
Yeah, shout out to Equifax. If you don't have two-factor, definitely put two-factor.
Yeah,
definitely.
And just protect yourself, man. Video games are about having fun. Dealing with this kind of stuff is not fun. It's not fun at all. So protect yourself. And don't use the same password for multiple accounts either. It's a bad practice.
Bad practice. Yeah, I recommend a password manager. I use personally myself LastPass. I've been using it for years, but password managers gives you these nice, nasty 16 to 24, 24-digit passwords that are nonsense.
Yeah, nonsense. Yeah,
but
because if your password is password or password 123, you've already been hacked. We already got your information. I think that's number 1 and number 2 on most used passwords. So don't use that.
Another thing, and this is something I do for my work passwords, is I will pick a random, like I read a lot of tech stories.
Okay.
And I'll just pick a random model number out of a story I read. If it's like, say it's a new TV and the model number is XYZ, that would be my password. And then the next one goes, I read the story about the new Oculus, and I just get the
SKU or something like that.
No, I get the technical model number, whatever the letters and dashes and crap, and I just use that stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's random. It's not tied. It's hard. It's easy for me to remember, but it's hard for anybody to crack.
Yeah. So protect yourself, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was our long form discussion. We would like to hear from you. Do you have any stories where you've been, hacked or scammed? We would love to know your story. We'll get your input on that as well. Details are down in the description, but you can see our social media is right underneath Boogie. You can see, like, under his name, we have our Twitter, our Facebook, and you can also hit us up in the comment section on YouTube. But with that, let's go ahead and get to our final thoughts. This is the part of the show where if you're just tuning in, we're at the end of the show. So right now we're going to go through most of the stories that we talked about today and just give our final 2 cents on some of them. I will go first. I have to talk about the weekly icebreaker that we went through, because we mentioned some of the games that we think belong in the Hall of Fame, and I really can't agree with our opinions more, because I went with the beat 'em up genre, River City Rampage, and by extension Double Dragon should be added to the Hall of Fame. And what was yours, Boogie?
Call of Duty.
Unfortunately, right. Call of Duty has made a huge impact in the gaming industry.
Right.
So yeah, we both agree that those should be in the Hall of Fame. We definitely want to know what you guys think as well. In our quick hit sections, we talked about Paladins leaving its beta. I don't really know what to say about this. Paladins has been declining in popularity for a long time. I don't really know what their player base numbers are. Go ahead.
They mentioned that they had a few million people.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. If they're rocking, I'm with them. But this Paladin is just, it's the knockoff of what's it called? Of River City.
River City.
It's the knockoff of Paladins. It's just, 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 it's called? Overwatch, and now they're going to be adding a battle royale mode. So it's just knock off the game. Like I don't know. I don't subscribe to Paladin, so I mean, but for whoever's playing it, you get some free currency if you were playing the beta, so that's a good thing.
So I'm just looking at the Steam charts, and the past 4 months has been up and down. So they gained 13% in January, they lost 15 in February, lost 7 in March, they gained 4% in what month is that? The last 30 days, they're up 4%. So it's been up and down. It looks like it's holding around 20,000 concurrent players.
Okay, so not terrible, I guess.
Yeah, and that's PC only.
Okay, so yeah. The next story we talked about was Capcom releasing Mega Man 2 and Mega Man X on cartridges. I feel like this should happen for a lot of other games. There's plenty of, new age collectors that would love to get their hands on a physical copy for a moderate price. I mean, $100 is pretty good for an NES or a Super NES cartridge of a super popular game. Mega Man 2 is probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular in the classic franchise, and everybody loves Mega Man X. So 2 games for $100 each. I can't say that this is a bad thing at all. Steam adding Switch Pro controller support was our next story in the quick hits. This is awesome. We both said that the Switch Pro controller is a excellent controller. The only flaw, in my opinion, is that the X, Y, and A, B buttons are reversed on Nintendo controllers. But the Steam beta will allow you to reverse those inputs. So that's perfect for me. So anybody out there that enjoys that controller but has nothing to play on your Switch, you can now use it on Steam. In our top 5 news stories, we talked about the free games for Amazon Prime for the month of May. A lot of good games. Out of the 6 that are available, I've played 3 of them, and I can't recommend them enough, especially because they're free. So go out there and download those games. You can actually put them. Amazon Prime for the month of May. Is that me or you? A lot of. That was you. Okay, so we muted my doppelganger. So you can download them to your account. You don't have to put them on your hard drive if you don't want to, but they will be in your account until the terms of conditions change over on Amazon Prime. Oculus Go, I don't really have much more to say about it. I mean, I do think that it is a perfect entry-level VR device. It's moderately priced, but again, the same issue that I have with all VR, there's nothing to play on it, and with this not having as many points of contact, it limits the amount of, I guess, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it just...
Their interactivity.
Yeah, the interactivity. It limits the amount of interactivity that you can have with the VR experience. So great for entry level. It definitely has more room to grow, and they still need games. They still need compelling games, in my opinion. The next story in our top 5 was the Atari VCS. The pre-order's going live at the end of the month. $200 entry fee. It does not come with a controller, and it comes with 100 or more Atari classics that we don't know whether or not they will be upscaled to take advantage of the pretty powerful hardware that's underneath the roof there. So it answered a bunch of questions that we had, but now we have more questions. So we'll have to wait and see when the VCS releases later this month. The Madden creative director moving on. Seems like there was some infighting over at EA Sports. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the Madden franchise, but then again, I don't really give a fuck because I don't play Madden. So the last story in our top 5 was the games being inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame, and I can't say anything bad about any of the 4 games that were added. Final Fantasy VII, all-time classic. Space War is, debatably one of the first video games ever. Tomb Raider introduced, the strong female character type, as well as introducing the, third person action shooter, puzzler into popularity. And then Madden Football, I mean, that's just Madden Football. I mean, it's like one of the first popular football games. Even though I think Tecmo Bowl was way better. And that's and then this week in loot boxes, we talked about PUBG turning off outside trading. I'm a firm believer that this is them trying to avoid further conflict, because a lot of countries are cracking. I mean, a lot of countries are already cracking down on PUBG for its loot box practices. So this is just one aspect that they can cut out from from the slew of things that are coming down on them. And that's all I have to say. Boogie, what are your final thoughts?
Paladins leaving beta. I'm kind of getting annoyed with these long open betas. I think it's been in beta for like a year.
So long.
Outside of that, I really don't care. I know one person that we both know, my brother, that plays Paladins, and he should be ashamed of himself.
G Marks. Well, shout out to G Marks, man. What's good, homie?
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, whatever. The Mega Man 2, the Mega Man X on cartridges, I think that's cool. I think it's a cool collector's item.
Oh yeah.
Something you can have up on your shelf. If I were to ever get one, and which I have no plans of doing so, I wouldn't even open it. I would just be sitting on my shelf. I think it's one of those type of collector's edition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna hunt down a Super Nintendo to play it. I can play it on emulation.
Or just like eShop or something like that. I mean, you can get that legit like anywhere these days.
Yep. Steam added support for the Switch Pro controller. Like as I said before, I think the Switch Pro controller is a very solid device, and just having more options is always a welcome.
Yo, the battery life on the Pro controller is godlike.
Is it?
The Switch Pro. Have you charged it yet?
I couldn't tell you. Well, I had to because I haven't played the Switch in months.
Well, dude, like I'm telling you, I have probably, like, since I've owned the Switch, I've probably charged that thing about 5 times total.
Really?
The battery life on that Pro controller is probably the best I've seen in recent video game consoles.
Maybe I need to find a game to get me to try that out. I know Ikaruga's coming out. I'm definitely going to be getting that.
Okay, cool.
And Lumens has been pushed back to June, so we'll see about that.
Okay, cool.
But then, was that the free games for Amazon Prime? Again, I think they're good get. Like you said, it's free. Free is free. I just recommend, if you're a Prime subscriber, just add them to your library. Download them sometime down the road where you don't have anything to play. You want to put some time in it. The Oculus Go, I think this is a great first step. I think this is a great first step to get VR into the mainstream. I think up until now, entry to VR was way too expensive for it to be very popular, and that was keeping developers away. The only concern for me is when you have this low quality VR, is not going to do anything good for the high level stuff.
Right.
The Atari VCS, I just need to know what am I getting? Am I just getting a Steam machine that says Atari on it? I don't know. I just need to see more.
Yeah.
The Madden creative director leaving, I definitely think that was a issue where there was creative differences. Now, I don't know who wanted to take Madden in a different direction, but I'd be interested to see what happens to Madden in the future. I don't imagine anything this year, but I would definitely be keeping my eye on to see what changes are going to be happening going forward after this Madden.
My whole thing with that is the name drops. Like he literally dropped specific names of people that he believes will keep Madden in the right direction. So that's crazy.
It'd be interesting to see if any of those people leave within the coming weeks or months.
Yeah.
The new games that's inducted to the Hall of Fame, I think they will all definitely deserve it. Tomb Raider, definitely, like I said, it spawned a real a genre, and it also put a strong female lead, even though she was overly sexualized, but it still was like one of the first games.
Man, those triangle titties were not sexy to me. I'm sorry.
It's just the design of her, right?
I'm just messing around. But
I think it definitely made a difference in the way games have been designed going forward, and it opened the door to a whole new genre or subgenre of games.
Yeah.
The Final Fantasy VII, yes, it belongs in the Hall of Fame. Still overrated. Fuck all you.
God damn.
Madden, of course, it's just Madden. It brought football to people.
Yep.
And what it is today, it is the football game for better or for worse.
Yeah, it is the only one.
Okay, and anytime you're the first ever of anything, you deserve it. Whether you were a piece of junk or you were the greatest, if you were the first ever of anything, and there's a Hall of Fame for that thing, you deserve to be there.
Okay.
PUBG turn off outside trading. I think that's kind of a panic from some of the headlines from the past couple of weeks.
Definitely.
To be quite honest, I don't think, especially in, I think it was Belgium, which was the tougher. They just said all loot boxes are illegal. Where the Netherlands, they just said loot boxes that can be that has market value are illegal. That have add-ons of market value. So I think it's them trying to figure out a way to get around these things. But I mean, people abuse stuff. It's always going to be that way.
Yeah.
So,
Man. But yeah, so that was our final thoughts. Yeah, in case you were just joining us, we go live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you check us out. Hit us up on our social media. We're on Twitter at AWGNS. We're also on Facebook, a weekly gaming news show, or you can use our call letters, AWGNS. Make sure you follow us on Facebook because all of our stories, our sources are listed in our show notes, and those are available on our Facebook page. So you can get all the extended details on all of the stories that we talked about. They'll be detailed there as well. Also, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, a weekly gaming news show, because Boogie does the weekly gaming news 10 and 10, which is a 10-minute or less snippet into some of the stories that we'll be talking about on the full show. And if you want to listen to us or watch us after the live show, you can do so. The very next day, the videos go live or go up on YouTube and also on the podcasting directory every Monday at noon.
Yep.
Yeah, and the 10 and 10 is every Saturday at noon. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, get your dose of a weekly gaming news show.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. So in case you want to listen to us on, your Amazon Alexa or your Google Home, Boogie, why don't you let them know exactly how they can do that?
Okay, so we are in the general podcasting directory. So if you want to take us on the go, you got your Android, your iOS, whatever podcatcher you use, you can search us, a weekly gaming news show, or use our call letters, AWGNS. We are directly in iTunes. We're directly in Google Play. We are also in TuneIn Radio. If you have a smart speaker, just yell out the wake word and say play the latest A Weekly Gaming News Show, and it will play the most recent episode for you.
Yes, and that will be the full podcast or the 10 and 10.
Right. It'll be the 10 and 10 on Saturday afternoon, Sunday, and Monday morning. And then on afternoon, Monday, it'll be the full proper show from Sundays.
Yeah, so you can catch us on your favorite podcasting app. Take us on the go. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want to watch us because we're some scrapping young men over here, okay? You know what I'm saying? Not to toot my own horn, but toot. I'm pretty handsome. And so is my friend Boogie over here. We are some handsome black men. So yeah, make sure that you follow us. We got some and episode 100 is next week, my boys. And Boogie has some surprises and I don't even know all of them. So I'm excited. Make sure you tune in. It's going to go down Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time after everybody, takes their mom out to dinner. You come home and you can watch a weekly gaming news show. So make sure that you don't miss the next week. We're going to have some surprises for you guys. And I can't wait. So let's go ahead and get up out of here. I guess we can close it on that mark, huh?
That's it.
All right, so this has been episode 99 of a weekly gaming news show, and we are your hosts with the most. My name is Trenell.
I'm Todd.
And we will catch you guys next week.
Peace.